Yesterday, I visited the archives of the Imperial War Museum in London for a face-to-face meeting with Hermann Göring. Well, not quite, but certainly a close-up look at a very personal Göring item, one of his famously unique uniforms. Göring, the corpulent head of the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, and after 1941 Hitler's nominated successor, was renowned for his fascination with uniforms, medals, guns, and, for want of a better word, bling. He was also a major art thief, the Prime Minister of Prussia, and the creator of the Gestapo, among other infamous attainments. He also famously designed his own unique set of uniforms, owing to his holding a unique military rank in Nazi Germany, that of Reichsmarschall, a higher form of field marshal. This meant that Göring was the highest-ranking member of the German armed forces, surpassed only by Hitler as supreme commander and Führer. So, like Hitler, his uniforms were unique to him. But unlike Hitler, who from 1939 onwards until the end of the war dressed in a simple uniform consisting of a field-grey double-breasted tunic with white shirt, black tie, black trousers and shoes, with a unique visor cap incorporating both military and Nazi Party colours, Göring went down a different sartorial path, with his favourite form of dress being a powder blue single or double-breasted ensemble with a heavily embroidered visor cap and Luftwaffe eagle on his right breast, and of course a smattering of his many decorations. Primarily his neck assemblage of the Grand Cross of the Iron Cross, he being the only World War II recipient, the Knight's Cross, and his World War I Pour le Mérite. On his left breast he normally sported his World War I Iron Cross First Class with Second World War Spange or Second Award Bar and a diamond-encrusted pilot's badge. But Göring also had uniforms to fit pretty much every weather condition and occasion, and in proper military fashion, in the warm weather months, he exchanged his powder blue uniform for this, a lightweight white version. The uniform was made for Göring after March 1941, as the collar patches comprise matching gilt metal-crossed Reichsmarschall's batons, framed on a white square with gold wire embroidered laurels, edged with twisted wire gold braid. Tailored by Steckbart of Berlin, the tunic is of light cotton, single-breasted with a fly front, and has a deep turn-down collar. It has slash pockets to the skirt with flaps. A striking feature are the Reichsmarschall's epaulets. They show evidence of rough repairs, probably post-war, including incorrect aluminium rather than gold buttons. We'll deal with one of the theories for this later on in this video. The epaulets feature a gilt metal eagle and swastika atop crossed Reichsmarschall's batons, mounted on gold, triple-wire twisted cord upon an underlay of superfine white cloth. On the right chest is a strengthening hole for the missing gold Luftwaffe breast eagle, while on the left side the cloth loops remain that once would have held Göring's ribbon bar and his decorations. Handling this item, the high quality of the cloth, the stitching and the badges are obvious, though there is some staining showing probable incorrect post-war storage of this item. You can also judge that Göring wasn't particularly tall. He is listed in US arrest records as 178 centimeters, or 5'10", but when you see Göring standing next to Hitler, who was about 5'8", he does appear slightly shorter, about 5'7", 5'7.5", and perhaps the height discrepancy was due to his having been measured while still wearing his boots. Looking at the tunic in person, it is for an average-sized man, though of considerable girth. Göring wore tunics like this during the summer, particularly during his visits to the Eastern Front, including conferences at the Wolf's Lair in East Prussia. And he also had another style of this tunic, a double-breasted affair, which he also wore during the summer months. Basically, these white tunics are exact copies, though lightweight white versions, of his usual powder blue uniforms. Another rare and interesting uniform is also to be found at the Imperial War Museum archive that I requested to view. This white summer tunic belonged to Dr. Hans Heinrich Lammers, the head of the Reich Chancellery, one of Hitler's ministers. This single-breasted model 1939 summer tunic could be worn as walking-out uniform between the 1st of April and the 30th of September. Made of white cotton drill fabric, it has an open collar with a single right shoulder epaulette and the collar patches of an SS Obergruppenführer, or Lieutenant General. Lammers held this rank as an honorary SS officer, as shown by this plain silver cuffband with black edging. It has 4 aluminium stipple pattern buttons with scalloped button flaps, angled skirt pockets of slash form with scallop button flaps, turn-back cuffs, and a rear vent. On the right sleeve is the old fighter chevron, indicating membership at the Nazi Party before 1933. And on the left sleeve, an SS pattern Nazi Party armband. On the left side of the tunic, the cloth loops remain that once held his ribbon bar, his World War I Iron Cross First Class, and his golden Nazi Party badge. Lammers was always in close proximity to Hitler, administering a large staff at the Reich Chancellery in Berlin, and when Hitler was in residence at the Obersalzberg, Lammers ran the so-called Little Reich Chancellery complex at Bischofswiesen near Berchtesgaden, that survives today completely intact. Also brought out for my inspection was Dr. Lammers' summer visor cap that goes with this tunic. White-topped with a black velvet cap band, silver SS General's cap cords, a black fibre peak and silver death's head and SS Eagle insignia. It is fully marked inside with SS manufacturing details and shows evidence of plenty of wear, particularly around the sweatband. Due to confidentiality reasons, the Imperial War Museum has been unable to give me any details about where these 2 uniforms came from. However, I would suggest that they were probably captured in Berchtesgaden or that area in 1945. As many of you know, Hermann Göring went south after seeing Hitler for the last time on the 20th of April 1945 in Berlin to his house on the Obersalzberg, and also sent down 3 large trains stuffed with looted art treasures and his own household goods and baggage and furniture, food and drink, and of course his uniforms. Dr. Lammers had already been evacuated south and was at his office at the Little Reich Chancellery. Following the bombing of Obersalzberg, Göring was later taken to a castle by his SS guards and later released before going to the Americans and surrendering to them in early May 1945. Dr. Lammers remained at the Little Reich Chancellery where he was arrested by US troops in May 1945. I think it quite likely that the Göring uniform was one of those probably found by the Americans either in one of the railway carriages that were abandoned at Berchtesgaden station in a tunnel and were looted quite thoroughly, or was found at his bomb-damaged house on the Obersalzberg, or it could possibly have come from his baggage that he had with him when he was captured by the Americans. And it's also most likely that this uniform of Dr. Lammers was captured at his headquarters at the Little Reich Chancellery and taken perhaps as a souvenir by a US soldier. However, there is further evidence about the Göring uniform that may show a completely different path. The anomalous buttons holding the Reichsmarschall's epaulettes in place and the poor quality of some of the stitching show that these epaulettes were once removed at some point and then restored to the uniform, and it certainly wasn't done by a tailor or even somebody like Göring's valet. It must have been done post-war. Combined with the fact that the gold Luftwaffe chest eagle is also missing, suggests that this uniform was stripped of all of its insignia for some reason. And of course that reason may have been Göring's appearances at the Nuremberg trials. Though he is most commonly seen in newsreels and photographs wearing a powder blue uniform from his personal baggage that had been stripped of all of its insignia, I have found documentary evidence that on at least one day of the trial he wore a white summer uniform. This was noted by journalists at the time. Perhaps this uniform was among Göring's effects after his death and was taken perhaps as a souvenir, along with sets of insignia that were in storage. This is only speculation on my part, and witness testimonies can of course be wrong. Dr. Lammers was tried for war crimes during the 1948-49 Ministries trial and eventually received a 10-year prison sentence. He died in 1962 in Berchtesgaden at the age of 82 and is buried today in the local cemetery.